lot, Mark, on this movie right now as a 38-year-old. So as 13-year-old, I was like, this may be the perfect movie in the world. 38-year-old, I'm saying, I think this is a definite conversation that happened. They sat down at a board table and they were like, okay, we're going to make Street Fighter into a movie. I think they talked for at least an hour and a half about could they just call it Street Fighter 2, the movie. And they're like, wow, there wasn't a first movie. Yeah, but we're just making it off the Street Fighter 2 game. It'll just be easier to call it Street Fighter 2. Wow, I think so. I think that conversation took most of their prelim time. And they had very little time left in the clock for their first meeting. And they said, well, what do we do for a plot? And they said, well, it doesn't really matter as long as by the end shot, they're all in their outfit. We really just have to figure out how to get them from point A to in their outfit for the last montage and still picture at the end. Because there was some ridiculous reasons how they got into their video game outfits.
Do you want to know so I just wrote a massive piece for Rotten Tomatoes about the 25th anniversary. And so okay. I pretty much know, I bought the Blu-ray to listen to the commentary from D'Souza.
And as usual, I go the opposite, right? So you always do deep cut commentary stuff for these podcasts, and I do the no commentary so I can get educated here by you.
Well, I think if we both know everything, it's boring.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so
I like to give my hot take, and then you tell me when I'm right and when I'm wrong.
Your hot take was, I loved it. It was pretty much perfect because it was Street Fighter 2, the movie.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and all right. So I got to tell you something. So Capcom, right? We want to make a movie. It's '93. It's around November. And they're like, we want a movie to come out next year, Christmas of '94. And they go to Steven D'Souza, the famed writer of 48 Hours, Die Hard, Commando, Running Man. And they pitched him like, hey, pitch us an idea. So he stayed up all night writing session, went into a pitch with no sleep. And he goes, I want to make a James Bond style action film about a warlord threatening world destruction and the good guys thwarting him. He's like, but I don't want to use all the characters. I only want to use 7, like the 7 dwarves. Mm-hmm. So they were on he had never directed anything big before. This is his first feature, $33 million. And they go, sure. And he's like, sweet. So he has 1 year to write the entire script based on his pitch. Then they had to, 1 year, write a script, location scout, build sets, cast, film, edit, market, and release in a theater in 365 days.
Wow.
Which is insane. They ended up going to Thailand, but it went insane, so they had to go to Australia to shoot to finish it out. Now, they wanted 2 people for it. They wanted Jean-Claude Van Damme, and they wanted Raul Julia. And he's the best part of this movie. It was Tuesday. He's amazing.
That line is awesome.
I mean, I wrote an entire paragraph about how, and while he's saying that line, he's holding a mixed drink with an orange garnish and a bison swizzle stick.
Yeah, all the bison merch was hilarious.
He has a bison night hat, and he wants better food courts. But yeah, so the majority of the budget went to Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia.
As it should.
So they had not that much money. So they went over to Thailand, and which I think worked really well for them because that scene at the end where they are storming Bison's castle, his temple, they had hundreds of extras. It looked like a real war scene, which I think added some nice. They could afford extras for next to nothing. It was like Blade 2. Blade 2, they paid their extras $18 a day to come in Prague. So here in Thailand, they're just like storming in any tourists. They're throwing in any of the populace, anybody that's around. They threw into the movie. Right. So he has a year to make this movie. Eventually, Capcom's like, wait a second. We're like $1 billion company. We're putting every character in. So he went from having...
By name. You have to mention every character by name.
So he went, and he's like, oh, okay, I had... He goes... So he had to rewrite the script to fit in everybody. So I guess... So I wrote, Ryu and Ken are huckster arms dealers who team up with Colonel Guile, Cammy, and T-Hawk. Sagat and Vega are real arms dealers who also run an underground fight club, while Dalsim is a doctor who creates super soldiers against his will, one of whom is Blanca. DJ and Zangief are cheeky henchmen who work for Bison. Chung-Li, Balrog, and E Honda are reporters and fighting legends who want revenge by working their way up through various media outlets. So during this film, Guile dies 3 times.
Yeah. There was the big, like, dead swerve, dead swerve, dead swerve.
There's like a bureaucracy subplot. There's a $20 billion ransom. There's enjoyable torture, food court discussions, henchman wage debate. There's like 5 speeches. Now,
absolutely.
Before we get further, I want to ask you, me and you, right? Who are me and you? Are we, you and I as a duo, are we similar to Sagat Vega? Are we similar to Ryu Ken, Zangief DJ, Cammy T-Hawk, or Honda and Balrog? Which duo explains us the best?
I wish the humble person of me who says we're somewhere in between Zangief and DJ and Ken and Ryu, but I think we're probably safer bet with Ken and Ryu.
You think we're Ken and Ryu?
Yeah.
Who's Ken and who's Ryu?
I think you would be Ryu because you have a little bit better fighting experience.
He definitely had more fighting experience, did he? Like
Yeah, so Ken was the classic guy, and there's one in every martial arts movie where he's just kind of a puncher.
Yeah.
Like, what was the guy in Bloodsport who was like, and then there was the guy in Best of the Best. It was Sean Penn.
Yep.
And there's always this one guy who's like doesn't really know karate, but gets in the movie, and I think that was Ken in this movie, and that's what I would be. I'd be the guy who's like, yeah, I took some karate lessons, I've been in a few tournaments, but I don't really know what I'm doing.
You're Doug Glatt.
Doug Glatt.
You're just a fist fighter.
Yeah. Throw some punches, make it look good.
That scene though, where Ryu is about to fight Vega.
Yeah.
Now they were going to have a full fight, but they didn't have enough time to rehearse it. No, so what happened? So you know what happened with Raul Julia during the filming of this?
Well, he died during the filming of this thing.
A few months after he completed it, but he had just gotten over a massive bout of stomach cancer, and his kids loved this game, so he did this with them. So he took his entire family, and this was his last film, which is amazing because he steals everything he does. But the thing
it's just him just having the time of his life.
All the fight scenes were supposed to be at the end of the film, but because he was so sick and emaciated, they pushed the fight scenes to the beginning of the film to allow him to recuperate for the finale of the film, which is so brave and amazing. I love the guy. So they were going to do a massive fight scene, but they didn't have enough time to do it. So they just had JCVD drive in and crash the party before the fight even starts.
It did really seem like an Indiana Jones moment, right? Where he just shoots the guy when that thing crashes through the wall.
Yeah, he pops up and he's like, "You're all arrested," and then everyone runs away. So how did they I want to see the movie where all these guys get gathered together. Yeah,
like there was a lot of logic jumps, like we're here, now we're here, now we're here, now we're here, like that. That happened a bunch of times, which I'm okay with.
Oh yeah, well, they had tsunamis and floods and problems with production, so they just were like, okay, we'll do this today. Or hey, where's JCVD? He's not here today because he has a massive. Allegedly a massive cocaine addiction. He didn't come back from China, or he's in his camper not coming out. Okay, well we'll just add other scenes with Zangief and make him funnier.
Right. So Mark, here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Okay, I made a list of hot points I wanted to talk to you about.
I like it.
And so because you're the most knowledgeable person maybe on the planet right now about this movie, I'm gonna just give you a hot point. And you're going to take it and let me know what's going on, the story behind it.
I love it. Let's do it.
Okay. Bison, in the opening credits, there's like costume designer so-and-so. Bison's costume made by, and then it had some, like, Bison's costume got its own credit.
Yes.
Now, why was it so different than regular costumes?
Well, the production, the costume designer, I know her name, Deborah Kramer. Mm-hmm. I know that off the top of my head. So she came in and she helped design a lot of costumes, but this was also based off of the video game. So I think they used that design and gave that person credit.
Okay, so it was like here's the real person behind what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, it just seemed funny that his costume got a credit.
I mean, it's a great costume. His cape work in this movie is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Okay, so my favorite visual gag of the movie. Was E Honda. Every time he got out of the van, it would like lift up 3 feet because of the suspension.
Oh, he's just big.
But I don't think he was that big. Like E Honda was big, but the actor playing him, like he was overweight, but I wouldn't say he was like a typical sumo wrestler size.
Yeah, so I never heard of, maybe it was just a cheap van with no shocks because they had no money.
Right. But I just thought that gag was funny. Every time he got out of there, it was like, oh, he's so big. Here goes the van up another 2 feet. That made me
I love the gag where Cammy kicks him out of the thing.
Yes.
I would hire Cammy.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
She's a good employee.
She was definitely sold out for the cause. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Okay. There was also like a Robin Williams reference this whole movie with the Good Morning Shadaloo radio station guy.
I heard that. Yep.
Right. So, do you know who that guy was? I don't know if they like that would be a role. I would love that role where someone's like, we need you to be the voice of Robin Williams in this world. So I just wondered if they gave that to somebody like on the production design or something.
I don't know who did the voice, but I know that director Steven D'Souza said that he made the announcements cheeky on purpose. What do you do when a bison
throws
henchman...
a grenade?
Yep, pull the pin out and throw it back at him. There will be delousing at 3:00. So he purposely made the announcements funny. Like, he wanted them to be stupid. So he kind of knew what he was doing with these. So I don't quite know who read it, but I don't know who did that, but I do know they made him purposely droll and boring.
It felt very Starship Troopers.
Yeah, and that's what he wanted. So this whole movie, he's like, this is a comedy. He's like, what? How can people not? He was freaking out a little bit. How can people not think this is a comedy? He's like, look at this painting in the background. He's like, he has a swizzle stick. That chair has a bison logo. Listen to this like thing right here that's playing. Like, listen to the music right here. He's like, this movie is
a straight up, almost a slapstick comedy.
Now, I have some questions for you.
Okay.
That aren't based on any fact. They're just your amazing brain giving me an answer.
Right.
How pissed would you be at Guile for going, hey, Charlie, we're going to come and get you. So and you're Charlie.
That was my next hot take. It's like the hey, buddy, I'm coming to get you, Charlie. That's here saying, does Van Damme actually hate Charlie? Like, is he like, oh, what's the stupidest thing I could do? What's the number one thing not to do in a hostage negotiation? Is to be like, I'm coming to get all those hostages, including my best friend Charlie. Bruce Willis. So here's the thing. It's the opposite. It's funny because this guy wrote Die Hard. D'Souza wrote Die Hard, where John McClane doesn't tell Hans Gruber that Holly Gennaro is his wife.
Yeah.
Right? He because he knows that would give him leverage. Whereas in this movie, right away, Jean-Claude is like, here's your leverage. He's my best friend. Don't put him in the monster machine.
And then Bison goes,
Right? It's just, it was awful. It was not smart, Van Damme. Not smart at all.
Another question for you.
Yes, sir.
When T-Hawk, when they're infiltrating the base, T-Hawk, Cammy, and Guile are infiltrating the base.
Right.
And he looks, Guile goes, hey, T-Hawk, what's with the headband? And T-Hawk goes, it's Cherokee. It's when we go into battle. And then kind of rudely, Guile says, you should have brought 3 of them.
Right.
Why? Did he have to bring, would it have been nice? Okay, quick question. Would it have been nice if he included Cammy and Guile into his Cherokee tradition?
In 1993 it would have been, but now it would have been a cultural appropriation.
Got it.
Right, but it would have been nice then. But again, that was just a moment, one more step of like, we need to get Tommy Hawk into his video game outfit, so he's going to put on a headband that's not part of his actual uniform, and so now we need to explain it.
Like, Guile, you should have brought a tank top for me, Guile.
Right?
You know, all right, another one for you. When he is going down the hole, right, with the rope, Jean-Claude, or Guile, I keep saying Guile, goes, 4 years of ROTC for this? Isn't that what?
Yeah.
Isn't that what ROTC is for? To prepare you for that.
Colonel Guile. Yes, Colonel Guile. That's why you went to yes, that's ROTC is to get you ready for fighting bison.
You and I go to 4 years of band camp, and then we have to rappel down a mountain. Then we could say 4 years of band camp, and we have to do this?
Yeah, this seems odd. This seems like a mislead.
But we love this movie, by the way. I cherish this movie. I hug it. But
I didn't need to look where I could get this movie because I've already owned it.
This movie, when I found out there was a commentary, I bought it. Like, I went back in time and bought it. But he's going down a hole with a rope to infiltrate a base of a megalomaniac who's going to genetically modify super soldiers very slowly.
Very slowly.
While he's surrounded to kill the world. He's going to kill everybody that he could turn into super soldiers. All they have to do is turn the power off, of the facility.
Yeah, again, you can't look at the logic of the whole thing. I love when he said it was a James Bond kind of thing, because Bison seemed like